Bandwagon. The bandwagon technique plays on a deep human instinct, the desire to belong. By suggesting that everyone is doing it, this technique taps into the fear of missing out, FOMO. When used in propaganda, it pushes the idea that a particular action or belief is popular and therefore right or desirable. It's like seeing everyone wearing a certain style of clothing and feeling the urge to buy it too, not necessarily because you like it, but because you want to fit in. Bandwagon creates a psychological pressure that if you're not part of the crowd, you're missing out or even risking social isolation. It's compelling because being part of a group provides a sense of security and validation. Card stacking. Card stacking is a method of manipulating audience perception by presenting only one side of the argument. It's like showing someone only the sunny days in a location while omitting the rainy days to make it seem like the perfect weather destination. By selectively omitting information, the propagandist can make one product, person, or idea seem far superior to another. This technique is powerful because it preys on the natural human tendency to simplify information and make quick decisions. Thus, by controlling what information is available, propagandists can shape opinions in a way that is disproportionate to the reality of the situation. Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love. Glittering generalities. Glittering generalities involve using emotionally appealing words that are vague enough to mean different things to different people, but specific enough to evoke strong reactions. For example, words like freedom, honor, and pride are positive but don't have a clear fixed meaning. When used in propaganda, these words invoke positive feelings without providing concrete details, leading people to agree with the sentiments without scrutinizing the context. The brilliance of this technique lies in its ability to unite large groups of people under a single concept, despite potential differences in individual interpretations or circumstances. Testimonials. Testimonials are endorsements from well-known figures or satisfied customers that leverage the trust and admiration people have for the endorser. When someone respected asserts that a product or idea is good, it automatically gains credibility. This technique is like a friend recommending a restaurant. You're more likely to try it because someone you trust has vouched for it. In propaganda, testimonials exploit the association between the endorser's positive qualities and the product or idea, compelling people to believe that if someone they admire supports it, it must be worthy. Plain folks. The plain folks technique makes a leader or influencer appear ordinary and relatable, often highlighting their everyday activities and humble beginnings. This approach works because it bridges the gap between the influential person and the public. It counteracts the alienation that might come from perceived differences in status or lifestyle. For instance, when politicians talk about their small-town roots or share personal family stories, they're using the plain folks technique to create a bond with their audience, making their messages more receivable because they seem more like one of us. Transfer. Transfer is a propaganda technique that connects a person, idea, or product with something already respected or hated. By associating the subject with a universally admired symbol, like a national flag or a highly respected person, the propagandist hopes the positive qualities will transfer over. Conversely, linking it with a negative symbol can tarnish its image. It's akin to putting a wholesome, family-friendly brand logo on a new product to suggest that it shares the same values. This method manipulates emotions and perceptions subtly, leveraging pre-existing feelings to bypass rational analysis and foster acceptance or rejection based on association alone. Fear. The fear technique involves presenting a dreadful potential future to persuade the audience to adopt beliefs or behaviors that can prevent the feared scenario. This could be anything from the fear of poor health prompting people to buy a specific medicine, to the fear of social chaos urging them to support particular laws or leaders. Effective because it taps into primal instincts for survival and security, this approach often exaggerates potential dangers to amplify anxiety, making the proposed solution seem more necessary and urgent. This technique banks on the idea that when scared, people will act more from emotion than reason. Name-calling. Name-calling is a straightforward yet potent propaganda technique. It involves labeling an opponent or their ideas with emotionally charged negative words to create aversion without any logical argument. For example, calling someone a traitor or an idea unpatriotic can dismiss, discredit, and demonize without addressing the actual merits of the person or the idea. This approach exploits the natural human tendency to avoid what is socially or morally tainted, thus swaying public opinion without the need for discussion or evidence. Loaded language. Loaded language uses specific words or phrases charged with emotional undertones to influence an audience's perception. This technique is about framing the language in such a way that it provokes an emotional response rather than a rational one. For example, describing a protest as a riot versus a demonstration can significantly affect public perception. Words with strong connotations can trigger fear, anger, or enthusiasm, subtly pushing the audience towards a particular viewpoint or action by coloring how they see an event or issue. Scapegoating. Scapegoating involves blaming a person or a group for a wide range of problems, regardless of their actual accountability. This technique diverts attention from more complex issues or the failures of those in power by offering the public a clear and simple target for their frustrations. Historically, scapegoats are often minorities or marginalized communities, chosen because they are easy to single out and lack the power to resist. By providing a tangible focus for anger and dissatisfaction, leaders can unite their followers and solidify control, all while avoiding genuine solutions to substantive problems. Repetition. Repetition is a propaganda technique that involves saying the same message multiple times until it is taken to be the truth. Like a catchy jingle that gets stuck in your head, repetition makes a claim, idea, or slogan more familiar and therefore more believable. The more we hear something, the more likely we are to accept it as true, thanks to a psychological phenomenon known as the illusory truth effect. It works because our brains misconstrue familiarity for truth. Repetitive messages can bypass critical thinking, making them a simple yet highly effective tool for shaping thought patterns and public opinion. Appeal to authority. Appeal to authority relies on the credibility of public figures, experts, or institutions to endorse an idea or product. It suggests that because an authority believes something, it must be true. This technique works well because people respect and trust figures of authority and expertise, often deferring to their judgment without question. For example, when a doctor is featured in a medical advertisement, their endorsement carries the weight of their professional expertise, encouraging the public to accept the product's claims without requiring detailed evidence or personal research. Black and white fallacy. The black and white fallacy presents complex issues as having only two possible outcomes, one good and one bad. It simplifies the nuanced reality into a stark choice between us and them, right and wrong. By eliminating the middle ground, it pressures people to choose the correct side, which is always the propagandist side. This technique exploits our comfort with clear-cut simplicity and our discomfort with uncertainty and ambiguity. It's effective because it makes decision-making seem straightforward and unambiguous, even when the reality warrants more nuanced consideration. Euphemisms. Euphemisms are mild or indirect words used in place of ones that are harsh or blunt, to soften or obscure the reality of a situation. This technique is used to make unpleasant realities more palatable or to hide the truth without outright lying. For example, saying collateral damage instead of civilian casualties in wartime reporting Euphemisms can desensitize us to reality and enable us to accept what we might otherwise find unacceptable. By sugarcoating the truth, propagandists can manipulate public opinion subtly and effectively. Oversimplification. Oversimplification reduces complex situations to simple, catchy solutions or ideas. It offers an easy answer to a complicated problem, ignoring the subtleties and potential consequences. This technique is compelling because it plays on our desire for easy solutions in an increasingly complex world. For instance, a politician might claim that a single policy change will fix the economy, even though economic issues are multifaceted and require comprehensive solutions. Oversimplification can be dangerous because it can lead to poorly informed decisions that fail to address the root causes of problems.